Umbrellas are one of the most inexpensive light modifiers you can get, and in this video we're going to show you how to create this image with them. My name is Pi, and I'm one of the founders of Lynn and Jersa Photography and SLRLounge.com. We're teaming up with Adorama to bring you a new series of photography tutorials called Master Your Craft right here on Adorama TV. So let's dive in. What's up guys? Welcome to Adorama TV. My name is Pi and this is my friend Chelsea. She's gonna be modeling for us today. In fact, we're gonna link her up, and if you're in the LA area, bring her out to a shoot. We got time. We all got time these days, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So look, umbrellas are incredibly inexpensive and very much underrated light modifiers. And I'm gonna show you how to use them in this video. And surprisingly, you can actually get quite a bit of light control out of them. So let's go ahead and just jump straight in. I'm gonna start with a before shot. So setting this down, I'm gonna grab my camera and let's take the remote off entirely. And I wanna start with just the ambient light exposure. Now on this, I have the EOS R6 and I've paired it with the Rokinon 85, which is really cool that they have an 85 RF lens now. So what I'm gonna do is first get a shot for just ambient light, which means I'm gonna bring my shutter speed down to 1/100th of a second, and we're gonna bring the ISO way up to like ISO 800. I'll increase the shutter speed to 1/200th, and we're gonna go wide open at f1.4. And Chelsea, that's the exact pose you're gonna hold for both our before and after, okay? So here's the shot. And of course, I'm gonna leave the white balance all whacked out to make the before look worse. But even if you corrected it, it wouldn't look great because these overhead lights stink. So look, the first thing I want to decide on is I want to walk you guys through the CAMP framework, right? So you guys have heard me say this a lot. We develop these frameworks to make it simple and easy to get to the same results every single time. So CAMP stands for composition, ambient light, modify, and then photograph. So the first thing I want to think about is composition. Before I touch any lights, I'm thinking composition. I'm already on my 85, I'm going for a portrait, and I'm cropping that portrait right kind of around the chair. So I'm good to go in terms of composition. What I need to decide now is my ambient light exposure. So once again, I'm not thinking about any lights yet. What I want to do is actually cut away all of this really bad ambient light. So look, I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring my ISO down to, let's go down to low ISO. And at 1/200th of a second and f1.4, I get really most of that nasty yellow light cut away. There's still a tiny bit there, but that's okay, just for the sake of recording this video. So I've dialed in my ambient light exposure. Now we get to the M. This is where we want to modify or add light, right? Now we can't really modify here because we don't have good light to modify. So what we're gonna do is actually add light. I'm gonna start with my key light first. Now for that, well, look, here is the Profoto B10. I'm actually gonna use this as the key light because I'm gonna be booming it up and overhead. The B10 Plus is a little bit larger and a little bit bigger. Although normally I would flip-flop this because this is a 250 watt second light. That is a 500 watt second light, so it's a bit more powerful. So usually I would flip-flop, but let's go with this. Okay, we're gonna start with our very first umbrella. Now we're not gonna be pumping out a lot of flash power, so you can literally be using any flash you got. I'm using the B10, but use what you got. At 250 watt seconds at a low power setting, it's probably gonna be like 25 to 50 watts, which means, watt seconds, which means you can basically use any flash, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in. And before I boom this up, I'm gonna set this to channel 2A. Since it's my main. Okay, just so I can easily keep track of it. I'm gonna boom this up. And this is gonna be this nice overhead light. Now here's the thing. A lot of times people bring the light too far in, right? You go directly over her head. And the problem is when the light is right there, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that flash is firing, okay? I'm gonna place the remote onto my camera. And the issue with the light when it's directly overhead like that is it's gonna cause very deep shadows, okay? So as you can see from this first shot is the shadows over the eyes are extremely deep. Now I'm gonna brighten up the light just a bit. So let's bring it up by about a stop. Okay, so it's at 4 power out of 10. So that's like 1/32nd to 1/64th power on this thing. It's not a lot of power, okay? But you can see the issue is that we're filling so because our brows are kind of above the eyes, we're getting these really deep and dark shadows in our eye sockets. So what I want to do is actually pull that light forward a bit. Okay, so I'm literally just going to push the light forward until essentially this edge is right over her face. Now what happens now is that the light is going to kind of spill forward. So you can even tip the light if you want to, but I kind of want the light to have that top-down look and effect. So I'm gonna leave it right there. And let me make sure Chelsea is also centered. Chelsea, scoot this way just a little bit. You can move the whole chair. There. And then I'm gonna push this in right over. Okay, now with that small adjustment, I want you to look. The light is the same power, the same everything. With that small adjustment, we've gone to this now, okay? And notice that we actually have light now landing in the eyes. The issue is, again, with the light in its current positioning, we're not gonna be able to get light into the eyes because, well, the eyes are being covered by eyelids. So what we end up with is a little bit of kind of darkness in the eyes. So what I'm gonna do now is grab a second flash, okay? I love everything about the image, except the eyes just need a little bit of fill. So here's what I'm gonna do. This go around, I'm gonna grab my B10. Once again, use any gear you got, okay? Doesn't matter what stands, doesn't matter what flashes, use what you got. And if we were to do the math, let's see. I always try to do the math on this. So 10 out of 10 is full power, 9 out of 10 is 1/2, 8 out of 10 is 1/4, 7 out of 10 is 1/8, 6 out of 10 is 1/16, 5 out of 10 is 1/32nd, 1/64th. So that's at 1/64th power, which is a tiny bit of light. I think I did the math right. I think I guessed it right, Mikey. It's not bad. Okay, so with this guy, normally we keep our lights kind of coming top down, right? But this go around, I actually want this to sort of aim up at Chelsea. And what I might actually use is a shorter stand. So let me actually go get this guy. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this down low and I'm gonna angle the head directly up. And it's gonna go actually past her head because I want this to kind of go through a second umbrella. So again, little $20 umbrellas, use the flashes that you got, and we're gonna get to a really cool place. So Chelsea, let me not smack you with this. Okay. I'm gonna bring this kind of right underneath and to the side, and this is gonna essentially be our fill light, okay? Now for this light, I'm gonna power this way down. See, as a fill, how we usually screw up our fill lights is we add too much light, and I'm gonna show you what happens. So I'm gonna put this at a power setting of 3 or maybe even 4 to match the top light, right? And this, by the way, is set to 2B. Okay, so with 2B now firing, now what you see is we start filling all the light in the scene. And when you fill all the light and you remove all the shadow, you end up with images that aren't that interesting to look at. We want shadow, we want highlights. So what I'm gonna do is back this off all the way to 1. Another option here, if you wanted to, would be to use a reflector to fill light into the face, and we can do that too. So now, Chelsea, go into that same pose. And that looks fantastic. We have this nice little fill that's just adding a little bit of light into the eyes, but it's not killing the shadows that we've created with this top-down light. So the other way of doing this would be with a reflector, but we have a little bit more control with a second flash. So look, this is a very simple 2-light setup. Now I'm gonna stop talking and shoot some more images. So Chelsea, do your thing. I love that. cute. Do somewhere you sit forward onto your knee, like kind of use the hands and kind of prop the face a little bit. I love that. I love that. Can you fix the flyaways real quick? And I love those poses with the chin up. Do a few more of those. Yes. Chin up right there. Right there. Hold that. Switch it out. That's awesome. So what's crazy about this is I want you to look at that before, that straight up natural light image, and the way that we've completely transformed this entire set. We still have the lights on, but with the way that we're shooting right now, it looks completely different. In fact, look at the back of my camera. You guys got to see the way that it transitions. So if you don't believe me, look at the back of the camera right here, okay? The way you can completely transform an entire scene. That is the power of the flash. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. If you did, I'd love for you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Meantime, comment below, let me know what you guys think and what you guys would like to learn next. Also, make sure you guys follow Chelsea. We're gonna link her up too. And you guys can follow me at Born and Creative on TikTok or PieJirsa on Instagram. Peace. I'm gonna shoot some more images, so go away. Go away. Let me have fun over here.